off early, and this is my story. In 1937, as most of you know, there's a lot of history in Germany of the 30s. In 1934, a law was passed called the Nuremberg Laws, and it restricted German Jews from a lot of benefits that the other Germans had. As things evolved, well, some of these laws that were passed restricted Jews from using park benches. They could only use certain benches. The German doctors, most of them were Jewish. They were no longer permitted to perform in the medical field. But as things evolved, things got more aggressive. Hitler was more aggressive with his conquest of land in other countries. And in 1939, September 1 of 1939, Hitler invaded Poland. And this basically was the start of World War II in Europe. At this point, after September 1 of 1939, all immigration from Germany was halted. And we left Germany in May of 1939, traveled by train over the Brenner Pass to Genoa, Italy, where we caught a ship called the Julius Caesar on our way to Shanghai. Well, why Shanghai? Because this was the only country that was available to Jewish people at that point in time. I had a first cousin that left Germany prior to us, and they wound up in South America, and they now live in Santiago, Chile. But we resided in Shanghai, and my father pretty well took any job that was available. At one point he worked in the Shanghai Fiber, but he always was able to somehow provide for Ursula and Tom, my brother, and his wife, and his father, who fought in the First World War, left for left for Shanghai with us. We lived there, and I've had a lot of my friends tell me, boy, it really must have been tough. But actually, in a lot of ways, it was paradise. I had the privilege of going to Catholic school, which was somewhat unusual for a Jewish family to be attending Catholic schools. The name of the school was St. Francis Xavier Cabrini. It was grades 1 through 12, and also it was a college. The school was built in 1874, and I had a chance to visit it when we last trip to Shanghai in 2011. We were very fortunate to have lived through these times and had the opportunity to immigrate to the U.S. We were sponsored by a doctor. I have all these records. I can't remember the doctor's name right now. And he basically had to put up some money to sponsor us to come here. We left Shanghai on February 17th of 1948, and we arrived in San Francisco. We sailed out of the Golden Gate Bridge, and March 3rd of 1948, I remember at 10:30 in the morning I had a penny and I threw it in the water as we transited underneath the Golden Gate Bridge. It's probably the greatest thing that ever happened in our life, being able to come to the U.S. And the benefits that we received through hard work. My father did okay, but all of us, when I say all of us, my sister Ursula, Tom, my brother, we all went on to higher education. Tom and I graduated from the University of Washington, and Ursula got a master's degree from Portland State. Several trips back, actually, to Berlin. We lived in my family, my parents, from the time I was born on June 28, 1937, we lived in an apartment house. It was a two-building structure, and one of those buildings was destroyed during the war. But if you go there now, the address was New Museum, or number 7, Deuze Straße. And they have monuments of people who didn't survive the war. There's cobblestones that are covered with bronze with the name of the individuals that didn't survive the war. My aunt, Edith, chose not to go to Shanghai. She stayed in Berlin, and don't ask me how she survived 5 years of the war, but somehow she survived living in railroad stations and being supported and hidden by close friends. She was very fortunate, actually. But that's basically it. I can't stress how much I appreciate this country for everything it's done for us. And my father was able to set a foundation for us, and both Ursula and Tom and I have done reasonably well. We're not filthy rich, but we're comfortable.
What was it like living in China?
First of all, there's a community in China called Hongqiu, and about 25,000 people, German people, live there. There was also a French sector and a Russian sector. The Russians actually got there first after the Russian Revolution broke out. A lot of the Russians went to Shanghai and established very good businesses.
Well, then you rode, how long were you on the boat from China to the United States? What was that like?
Oh, well, I was pretty young. I was only 10. The transit from February 7th to March 3rd, so we're looking at, it's a leap year, so we got, 12, geez, must have been longer than that, 12 plus 3, so 15 days total. For the transition, the first night we stopped in Yokohama, I remember that, and the second stop was in Honolulu, so nobody minded that.
How did you know it was time to leave Germany? Yeah.
Because, that's a very good point. I'm glad you answered the question. Once they established the Nuremberg laws, Jews were declared stateless. In other words, you didn't have a citizenship. Okay? And when the war actually broke out, we had a close, well, I can't say I was a close friend because he was probably 8, 9 years older than myself when they arrived there. But his father, it was the family name was Cohen, and Mr. Cohen was a furrier, and there was no way that he was going to leave Germany. But he had a close friend in the German Air Force, and this friend told Mr. Cohen that you better leave because Hitler's going to wipe out everything. So they left on August 31st. If they would have waited another day, they would have gone by way of concentration camps. It just, once September 1 hit, the war broke out. Nobody got out after that. No Jews got out after that. Yeah. That's a very important point. Broke out.
Were there other countries that you had your family considered going to?
Yeah. It's, I'm sure my parents would have rather have gone to South America. You know, a lot of Germans immigrated to South America. The thing about it is we waited so late. By the time we left, or were ready to leave, in May of '39, there were really no countries that would take us.
How old were you?
I was 9 years old.
Could you grasp how scary the situation was?
I was totally oblivious to what was encountered for us. But as far as the Asian people, we never got bad treatment from them. And it was a country that was occupied by Japanese. And actually, the Japanese, we really had no problem with the Japanese. Some of the officers, Japanese, kind of had big egos, but we, as far as being sent to any camps, that never happened.
Ralph has gone on to live a long, fruitful life. He married Dulaine Ehrlich and has been blessed with 2 wonderful children, Lainey and Brandon, and 6 crazy grandkids. Ralph's hard work and dedication allowed him to truly live the American dream. Although he might have escaped the horrors of Nazi Germany, he was diagnosed with stage 4 cancer in the summer of 2016. Ralph currently lives in Mill Creek, Washington, with his wife Dulaine, and is still fighting.